questions. And thanks, Mike. And just some troubleshooting if you're coming here as a new user or a curious user or a current user. Andy's team and our team will be standing by to answer any questions on that. So without further ado, I will kick it over to Danae to talk about Sumo and Sumo Scheduler. I believe, Danae, Mike's going to be controlling the slides, so we don't have to hop back and forth.
Yep, just as a quick administrative note as we hop in, Danae, Zach, and Derek, just for ease of use, like Tyler mentioned, I will be recording the slide. So please, if I need to advance, just tell me next. It's easier than folks closing and reopening.
Excellent. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Tyler. As Tyler mentioned, I'm Danae Wilson, and I'm the Senior Assistant Director for our academic org on the Enterprise Salesforce Operations team. And I have led our Sumo Scheduler implementation. So I wanted to share with you what is Sumo Scheduler and a couple of use cases that the Transformative Learning Group here on campus is using Sumo for. So go ahead, Mike. Excellent. So Sumo Scheduler is just an appointment scheduling platform that integrates with Salesforce. And it really allows our students to schedule appointments with all kinds of resources across the campus. I know that the Student Orgs and Activities team is using Sumo, and then our new integrated success coaching team out of Transformative Learning uses Sumo every day for their operations. So it allows students to schedule at specific times and locations and with specific people. So I want to share with you first how a student schedules using Sumo, and then we'll dive into what it looks like from the appointment host or coach's perspective. So as a student, what I would do is log into my UK and select the Student Services tab. And then there's an option at the bottom there. You'll see Student Success Coaching Yep, there it is. Thanks, Mike. And when they click that, they go to this scheduling page. And here they can either select a coach. So if they've met with a transformative learning coach in the past and they're familiar with them, they can choose their image. And if not, there is a general scheduling link as well that they can use to schedule with someone new. So let's say I select Benjamin Dunn as my coach. I'll click that, and then the next page, this is where Sumo kicks in. So what we see here is you can choose your virtual or in-person location. So if I select virtual and click next, I'll then see Benjamin's availability. So I can select a date or a month or a time that works best for me. So let's say I select the 25th of November, and then I'm displayed with all of Benjamin's times that he's available. There's also an option to change the time zone. So if I'm a virtual student and let's say Owensboro or something, I can change that to Central Time to see times that work best for my calendar. So let's select 3 o'clock, and then I'm going to schedule my appointment. After I schedule, it brings me to this confirmation page. You can see that you can print it if you like, but most students will just wait for the email confirmation. So once the confirmation screen pops up here, I can see, again, my date and time and the type of appointment that I'm having. So in this case, I'm having an academic coaching appointment. So I can always cancel my meeting if I realize, oh, no, I didn't mean to do it at 3 o'clock. I actually am available at 2, or I can add it to my Google or Outlook calendar. Now at this point, a email is sent to both the coach or the appointment host and the student who booked the appointment. And this email here is customizable depending on the type of appointment, but it shows the information and any follow-up that the student needs to do before their appointment. So in this case, there is a survey that the student would fill out, and then they see who they're meeting with. And if for some reason they do need to cancel or reschedule, there's a link within the email where they can do that. And at the same time that they receive the notification, they also get a calendar invite sent to their Outlook calendar so that they can remember when that appointment is going to happen. Awesome. So now that's what it looks like from the student's perspective. Very easy, just click through, schedule, all booked. But now let's look at it from the back end. So from the coach's perspective, or on the Salesforce side. So Sumo is really neat that you can connect your Outlook calendar to Salesforce. So that way the two can talk to each other, and you can see what's available on your Outlook calendar so that students can't book over appointments that you already have. You can also define your availability or location. So what does that mean? You can see down in this image below, you can either select recurring or specific dates. And again, this is the coach coming in, setting up their availability. Recurring is if you have the same time that you're available to meet with a student every week is the same time. So you'll see down here from 8 to 5, Monday through Thursday, I'm available. And then Friday afternoons, I'm available for an hour to meet with students. You can also select your area or your location. So right now you'll see that the Boone Center is selected, but there's an option to add any location there. So if you meet with students in the Student Center or somewhere else on campus or even virtually. Under the settings tab there, you can also select like how many appointments you want to have in a day. So if you only want to meet, have 5 booked appointments on your calendar a day, there's that option so that you're not overbooked. Okay. You can also, as the appointment host or the coach, set your appointment length. So if you want to meet for 45 minutes or an hour or 30 minutes, that is all set up in the back end. You can also define if you want time before or after a meeting to, either time to prepare for that meeting or to write down your notes afterwards. And that's what we call pre or post meeting buffers, so that students can't book during those times. And then I had mentioned the specific locations. So that could be, a building or an office, but also if you want to meet in person, virtually, or just over the phone. And then we have who is available per appointment type. So maybe you have different types of appointments that you meet with students. So maybe the first appointment is different than the follow-up appointment. And you meet with students in the first appointment, but your colleagues meet in the follow-up. So there's an option to assign who is available for each of those appointment types. Then we talked a little bit about the email notification, the confirmation email, but you can also customize reminder emails and any follow-up emails that go out to student after an appointment. So let's say if they attended the appointment, they might get one follow-up email thanking them for attending with any follow-up actions, or if maybe they didn't show up and you want to reschedule that appointment, you can customize that message as well. Okay, so another feature for the appointment host or the coach is what we call the Schedule Now feature. And this is tied to the student's contact record in Salesforce. So if you search for me, Tess Danae Wilson in Salesforce, there's a nice little button on the contact page called Schedule Now that you click, and it brings you to this page. And my daughter is very excited about Sumo as well. But you can select the appointment title or type. And in this case, we selected the ISC academic type, but if you had other appointments, you could select that. And then you can choose if you want it to be virtual or in person. And then we have the time options. So it will automatically be set to that predetermined time, in this case, 45 minutes. But if you want to change that to, let's say, 30 minutes or an hour and a half, we can change that there. And you can add in your pre and post buffer times. Your availability is automatically set from that calendar view I showed earlier that was green. But if you decide, you know what, I have some time that opened up in my day, it says that I'm busy, but I'm really not, you can disable that, allow any where it's disabled, you can enable it and it will show all of your calendar time. So that's a nice little feature. And then you can select your participants. So in this case, I'm the student, the test Danae Wilson, and I selected Benjamin Dunn as the coach. So this would really be Benjamin coming in here and scheduling this appointment with the student. And then he can choose the date and the time that he's available. There's also an option at the bottom that's not shown on the screen to add like a customized message if you want to say something to the student. You can do so. All right. And then we also have within Salesforce the option to track attendance. So if a student cancels or reschedule, the attendance is automatically updated, but if they attended or if they're a no-show, the coach can go in and change that attendance on the record. And that's what triggers those follow-up emails that I mentioned earlier. So you can see here a little bit more information about the specific appointment. So a little bit more about the student, the time, the date, duration again. And then this is that pre-appointment survey that was in the confirmation email that the student filled out. So you can also see those fields here with a little bit more information on why the student selected this appointment type to meet with you. We also have some really awesome reports, Sumo reports in Salesforce, and this is just one, but there's several out of the box that we share with groups as they are onboarding to coaching. But this one you'll see is the past appointments from the last 7 days for academic coaching specifically. And you'll see this is broken out by attendance. So did they attend? Were they no-show? And then you'll see the coaches' names there on the left-hand side. So you can see how many appointments each coach had in the last 7 days. And then the status. So attended, no-show, etc. I'm covering up the student information there, but you can add in like student numbers, first name, last name, email, address, phone number, whatever you like. Any information that's within Salesforce can be added there. And then you'll see a nice little chart at the top that shows the percentage of attended, cancellation, no-show, and rescheduled for the week out of the 141 appointments. Okay, so a couple of benefits that I already mentioned, but Sumo is a great like one-stop shop for students to schedule with academic coaches or really any type of group through MyUK. And the great thing about, excuse me one second. And the great thing about students being able to schedule through MyUK is their information is automatically passed to Salesforce. So they don't have to remember their link blue or their student number. They automatically link to Salesforce. And then we talked about the availability, which is great. So you don't have to worry about managing your calendar or when you can meet with a student. And then there's also the option to add your logo and branding to Sumo. And we talked a little bit about the reports. And for the follow-up, I know with Transformative Learning specifically, they use their attendance data to send follow-up text messages, which is also available through Salesforce. So they send their reminder text messages, and then they do texting campaigns, to encourage students to book future appointments with them. And there's also the option to do email campaigns based on their attendance. Okay, so what do you need to do, or what do you need to know to get started with Sumo Scheduler? So the first thing you would want to do is just reach out to our team. Our email is there, salesforce@uky.edu. If you don't already have a Salesforce account, you would want to go ahead and get that requested. And I think Mike covers that in the Call Center Lite training, how to request an account. So I'll leave that to him. And then you do need a Sumo license. So there is an additional cost per license per year, but we could talk to you about that if you're interested. And then we would schedule a discovery call to discuss your specific scheduling needs. so that we could get a feel for what you're doing and so that we could set it up for you. All right, that's all that I have.
All right, thank you, Danae. So as Danae mentioned at the end there, if you're interested in getting to learn more about Sumo, obviously email us at salesforce@uky.edu. And if you, just in case today when we have our breakout rooms, if you have any thoughts or questions about it later, I might be able to help out in the breakout room as well. But again, thank you, Danae, for that. Sumo has been an awesome tool, and we've had a lot of folks who have been onboarded onto it, loving it. I'm going to talk today about Call Center Lite. And as Tyler kind of mentioned earlier, we have used Call Center Lite to kind of record and track our call jobs across campus for the past while. It's a great little tool that we had one of our devs do some custom building to it. And one of the most impressive things I think that really highlights the effectiveness of Call Center Lite, back at the beginning or the middle of spring semester last year, when the campus first went remote, when we first had our students leaving campus due to the coronavirus, the student activities and SAL unit at that point in time, I think they've now changed names again, but they had the idea to reach out to all of our undergraduate students. So thousands and thousands of undergraduate students, they wanted to call and do a general welfare check on them. And we were able to do that with the help of hundreds of volunteers and staff members across campus, utilizing Call Center Lite and being able to facilitate that call job. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about it and what that kind of looks like for us. So Call Center Lite itself is a Salesforce experience portal, which allows us to track and record call campaigns in an organized and efficient manner. This is in contrast to maybe something like just using a list of names and phone numbers. This is really an organized way to capture a population that we're intending to call and to facilitate the team, department, or volunteers who are going to be calling those folks to do so in a meaningful and well-organized way. How it works is we start off with a requesting an account using the form. So as Danae mentioned earlier, if you need to request a CRM, a marketing cloud account, or if you were interested in Call Center Lite, those forms are all found at uky.edu/Salesforce. The rest of the URL is request service forms. But if you start at uky.edu/Salesforce, you'll find a little tab on our page that says request service forms, and you can get to it there. After an account has been created, users can also request a call job using the form, another form on that page, specifically labeled for call job. And there it's as simple as filling out the call job intent. So what is the purpose of the call? Is a welfare check? Is it a academic check-in? A quick little description, and then your list of callers being your team, or if you're using volunteers, as well as the opportunity to supply the script, so the prompt that your callers or volunteers are reading off of, and some additional details. Finally, you would work with us to identify the population that you want to be called, and we'll generate a report in the CRM to use that for our calling. So again, if maybe you wanted to call every undergraduate student at UK, that was a massive report, that was a massive undertaking to do, but as long as we have the information in the CRM, we can get that report generated. And if not, even if you're calling something a little extra, we can work with you to get those folks identified and get that population created. So after your account has been created and your call job has been created, you can get logged in. That Call Center Lite URL is uk.force.com/UKY Call Center Lite. That is a long URL to try to remember off the cuff. So what I will say instead is you can find that at the uky.edu/Salesforce page. There is a specific page that I'll be directing you to at the end of this demonstration for Call Center Lite. So if you want to learn more about that, we will circle back to that at the end. There are two different logins to the system. It's a little bit tricky, but nothing too complicated to understand. If you already have CRM access, meaning you've been in the system, you've been in Salesforce, and you've been able to work around, you are able to log in just directly with your link blue. No hassle there. If not, though, if you've never had a reason to be in the CRM, or if maybe you're having student workers who are just temporarily joining to be able to call on your behalf, but they don't actually need system access, we're able to utilize what we call community user portal licenses. So you can request that in that original form. And if you have a community user license, then you can log in there. Once you've logged in, you'll find the campaigns lists, and there are multiple campaigns within the system, but there is search functionality as well that allows you to look through and find the particular campaign that you're looking for. And we'll show an image of what the actual campaign screen looks like here in just a second. But you'll see that on the left side of the screen, there's details related to the call job. This is where your script goes. This is where any details for prompts that you've listed. And on the right side is a super simple and easy to navigate button that allows us to click through the population and identify those folks that are being called. So this is what the campaign screen would actually look like. You've got a couple of sections here. Predominantly on the left-hand side, you'll see that the campaign emails. So we'll see what that call job intent that I mentioned earlier was. This call would have just been a general outreach with no specific intention, and the description that was listed, as well as the status of that and the record type. So we can see that this one is in progress since it's been started. Below the details, which are collapsible with that little arrow, we can see a call script below. The way that we have recommended scripts be drawn up in the past and the way that we are showing it in this demo, we actually have two sections for if there is no answer, i.e. if we hit a voicemail or if we talk to someone who is not the intended target, and then if pick up or answer. So this gives us that opportunity to have flexibility on whether or not the student immediately picks up the call and whether or not we get hit with a voicemail. On the right side of the screen, you'll notice a little box here that says welcome to call center and tells you to be prepared to make the calls and reviews as well as filling out the items. And you'll see that blue next button. As far as what it looks like when you're inside of the system calling, that next button is the only thing that you use to navigate through. So the entire time that you're seeing student details, that you're filling out fields from the call, your script and these details are maintained on this screen. So you never have to worry about having a separate window or separate page open to follow along with your script. So logging the call, as I mentioned, when you click that next button, you're going to navigate through the contact record and record information at your own speed. The first page you hit is usually just a student name, ID, phone number, the actual number that you're meant to call. And then as you continue clicking next, you will get the prompts that have been identified for filling out the call status and description. You'll also see some generic prompt options that we include in there. And sometimes it's a good idea to be able to utilize your script to reflect those call options. For example, we have a 1 through 5 ranking that back when we did that all UK student call, that 1 through 5 ranking was how well the student was doing. And we were able to utilize that in some interesting ways, that if the student had remarked a 1 or 2 to indicate that someone's mic is open. We're good. We were able to mark 1 or 2 to indicate that the student wasn't doing well, that they needed help, and that automatically flagged that student for follow-up with an advisor or a general welfare officer. So that was some cool options that we had there. Once you've completed the call, you have hung up and you've recorded all the necessary information. When you click next again, it's going to reset you right back at the start. And if you were to click it one more time, it is going to pull open a new person. So the benefit of that and the benefits of using Call Center Lite in general, there are no concerns over individuals being called more than once. The reason for that is when you click next, when you have started with that student and you have accepted or you've moved through their information and started that call, they are pulled from the queue. So if you have 20 people in the system trying to make calls at once, they're not going to double up. They're not going to duplicate. As someone pulls an individual, that person is temporarily removed from the queue until they finish the call. And once they've finished, they're removed entirely. As I mentioned earlier, the script stays on the screen the entire time, so you're able to navigate through the user record as needed to fill in at your own time. And the completion of this record will amend to the student contact record in the CRM. So this provides a historical reference to that call campaign. You could probably look through some of the undergraduate students that were around last year during that spring semester and see a detail of the call job that we used for their general welfare check and have a record of that in the student contact in the CRM. There is also the ability to generate dashboards. So this is useful, especially if you're a department utilizing volunteers or students. You are able to get really granular with the level of reporting from Call Center Lite. So just as a couple of quick notes here, like we can see that overall from this dashboard at the time of its recording, we can see the overall calls and the callees who rated intention, that's using that 1 through 5 option that I mentioned earlier, as well as the calls broken down by the caller and by the individuals who are working in the system during certain sections of time. So we can get really granular and high overview with this to be able to track, see how many calls we're able to push out per person per day or per team. And we have several options in the dashboards to be able to configure these to look and generate as much helpful data as we can use. So to get started in Call Center Lite, it's pretty straightforward. You would just need your account and your call job request. You fill out those forms on the uky.edu/Salesforce site. Then we need to work with you to get the report or list of the intended population, who is being called, their name and phone number. A quick note that I want to make mention of here, Salesforce itself is not a soft phone. It doesn't have the capability to call a student, so you would need some method to do that. Really common tool is Microsoft Teams, being able to use the dialer on that, as well as if you're on campus, maybe if you have the phone capacity to use VoIP phones. And we've had some folks use some different software as well, like I think students are able to use Skype for Business temporarily before that is done away with. You would also need any scripts or prompts that you wanted included in your call job. We've had some departments not need a script if they're only doing 10 to 20 calls for students and they're all wanting kind of a one-on-one conversation. But if you're going to have multiple folks working in, having a script or a prompt for your caller to follow is really helpful. And then just be ready to call and record. So again, if you want to learn more, please visit us at uky.edu/Salesforce. And that short, the URL there is /Call Center Lite. If you just go to the Salesforce homepage, it's under the training and resources. You'll find a tab for Call Center Lite. And there we not only have the information we covered today, but more information on getting started. There is an actual very quick, I think it's 4-minute overview training video that would be great for students or volunteers who didn't get this exposure today, and then some quick FAQs. So if you have any further questions today, please feel free to ask me, especially I will be hanging out in the Salesforce breakout room after today's presentation. Be happy to answer any questions, or you can email me at michael.ballin@uky.edu. Thank you so much. And I think that we are ready for Tyler to jump in, or sorry, Zach to jump into the Apple Mail privacy protections. Whenever you are ready, Zach.
Good morning, everyone. I want to take a few minutes to talk about Apple's new mail privacy protection. Quick introduction for those who don't know me. My name's Zach Adams. I am the Marketing Cloud admin at UK on the Salesforce team. So I just want to give a quick overview of what the new settings in Apple's iOS 15 means for Marketing Cloud, email marketing in general, and what we can do to work with it. So if you want to click through, Mike, we have a short video here that will give a quick overview and some high-level view of what this is going to mean.
There's no audio.
Yep, I anticipated that. Give me 1 second and I will share desktop audio.
How do
Are we good?
I say goodbye to email marketing?
Are we able to hear the audio now?
Yeah,
Yep.
you're good, Mike. Thanks.
Cool.
Loud and clear.
You were so young. With the upcoming fall release of iOS 15, Apple's latest update for the iPhone, a literal mic drop may be coming to the world of digital marketing in the form of some new privacy updates. These privacy features are great for the consumer, but not so much for email marketing campaigns. So roll the footage.
If you're like me, you get a lot of marketing emails like this. What you may not realize is that many of these emails use invisible pixels to collect information about your mail activity. We think you should be able to choose whether to allow this or not. So now in the Mail app, we're introducing Mail Privacy Protection.
It hides your IP address, location, and prevents senders from seeing when and if you've opened their email. It's the holy grail of user privacy. But for marketers, it'll hide your open rates and take away your ability to accurately target emails. To be blunt here, if you're watching this video right now and you're using segmentations that rely on open rate data or location-based data, it just may not work anymore. Think of it as a mailman with a bag full of mail to deliver, but all the building numbers have been blacked out. We're talking send time optimization, subject line testing, and real-time personalization all go bye-bye with the swipe of an opt-in button. With control of 47% of total email clients in 2021, it's pretty safe to assume that Apple's Mail Privacy Protection opt-in feature could lead to an impact of nearly 50% of email marketing's audience. This is like the Thanos snap of digital marketing. This is following the trend that started with Apple's iOS 14.5 update that notoriously gave users the option to either opt in or opt out of sharing their information with advertisers for targeted ads. When given that option, 96% of them opted out. Privacy is no longer a passing trend. This is the now and the future. But it's almost as if my name were Tory McFly, because when it comes to the future,
Thanks, Mike. We can go ahead and pause
email
it there.
marketing, where we're
Okay, so as he stated, this is going to have an impact on email marketing as a whole. We can see from the chart here that Apple, many emails in the business pass through Apple in some way, whether it's through iPhone at 38.2%, Apple Mail at 10.4%, or iPad at 1.2%. That combines to give almost 50%. So it is going to be a big impact. However, there are some things that are going to mitigate that. And I do want to say that we have spoken to Salesforce representatives already, and they assure us that it's not going to be huge in terms of, it's not going to break anything. It's not going to keep us from sending email. What it is going to affect is the way we view some metrics, primarily open rate. And we do have a quote here from the director of content marketing at Constant Contact, and he has gone on the record saying that as of right now, they have not seen a big drop in open rates. And I'll give you just a minute to read that quote. So they do some internal tracking of their metrics, and they've seen that there hasn't been a big change immediately before to immediately after the new setting was implemented with Apple. So Mike, if you'll go ahead to the next slide here. The reason that we may be seeing this so early on is because the new setting does require an opt-in. So basically the way that the new mail privacy policy is going to work is that when the Apple Mail app starts up, it will trigger a download of the new version. It will give an option to opt in to the mail privacy practice. And functionally, it is going to basically obfuscate open rates a little bit. There is going to be some proxy that the emails go through before it hits the end user, and it's going to be harder to track when they open emails. So that is going to, in some ways, make open rates a little bit harder to track, although like we saw with the quote from the Constant Contact head, we're not seeing that immediately, but over time, as more people opt in, as more people download the update, and as Apple's market share potentially grows or shrinks, we're going to see that change as time goes on. Go ahead, Mike. So one of the reasons that we see that it's not going to impact completely email marketing is because we do have other metrics that we can look at, right? Open rates are not the end all be all of metric tracking and reporting. And in fact, it's pretty base level way to look at how people are interacting with your emails. So we have other metrics we can look at. Clicks and click-through rate are a really big one. Obviously, clicking an email is a much better interaction than opening an email. So if we're able to look at click-through rates, which Marketing Cloud allows us to do both through reporting and through its feature called Datorama, that is going to give us some better metric tracking and engagement views for our emails. So basically what we want to do is not focus so much on open rate, but focus more on getting engagement once they are in that email. So we don't want to say, okay, we only had, last year in last year's enrollment cycle, we had an average of a 28% open rate on this type of email. And then this year, we're only seeing 20%. Sure, that could be impacted by Apple. It could be impacted by changes in the email or the audience. But if we can dig down and drill down deeper and look at click-through rates and different types of engagement, that can give us a better picture of that overall marketing health. Another way that we can really leverage this is with when we have those click-through rates, obviously they're clicking a link. If that is linking to a UK site, we can work with our friends on the web team and help track those web metrics in terms of users landing on those pages and how they're interacting further with our pages and our content. So lots of ways around this, and we're happy to work with you to get those metrics for you and to find different ways to track what you're doing. And while it is going to have an impact, we don't anticipate it to be earth-shattering or completely changing the way that our processes and our emails work. So that's my last slide. I am reachable on Teams. If you have any further questions, you can also email our shared inbox, marketingcloud@uky.edu, and we'll be happy to address any further questions you have about Apple Mail privacy or email or Marketing Cloud in general. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Zach. I think that next up on the block, Derek Meads of College of Engineering. If you are ready, I will let you take it away.
All right. Let's see here. Sorry, guys. My Zoom is being funny here. There we go. Thank you, Zach. In fact, I did opt in on Apple Mail privacy. Apologies. Anyway, I'm excited to be here, talk about what we're doing in the College of Engineering. And if anyone wants to pop in and ask a question or start a conversation, I kind of think this is a loose presentation to generate some conversation about digital strategies we're using. Next, please. So like most of my colleagues who are doing marketing and communications in colleges, we have, in my team, recruitment's a very big deal. We're really trying to boost our enrollment up. Philanthropy would not want to be second, but they are. And of course, raising our profile in the ASEE. There's other things, other audiences, other campaigns we do, but I feel like most of the major work I do falls into these three categories. Next. Of course, our primary digital marketing tools, which I don't know why I can't talk, marketing tools. We have website, of course, our email campaigns. We have been using Social Studio mostly just to schedule the week's posts that we know about. And we have worked with Tyler's team on developing a chatbot, a very smart chatbot as well. Next. Website, just put it out there. It's Bootstrap 12 frame. We've been constantly working on this. We just launched a new header recently. We're such a big college. We had a very simple header, but our complexity and the request to have diversity and international and, you know, to have visit, apply, and give as top level calls to actions was pushed by our colleagues. So anyway, we're excited about that. This is Drupal 7. We are just getting started on developing Drupal 9. And in that process, we're kind of revisiting how our navigation works, the look and feel of the site. So the biggest, most important. So next, of course, we have developing a lot of emails in Marketing Cloud. This is just a snapshot of some of the emails. I think all of us have had the opportunity to develop some emails with Kelly Shop to communicate with prospective students who show an interest in our programs. I threw a few up here. I did add kind of an ad that's in all of our recruitment emails, which is the exceptional co-op experiences. That's a big selling point that we need to push. We're always competing with our regional colleagues, our regional competitors, U of L, Cincinnati, Push, co-ops. We're trying to counter message them a bit. Other campaigns we do, of course, are related to philanthropy. So I do have a newsletter that goes out to all alumni. I also do a U.S. News and World Report message that goes out to deans, associate deans, and some chairs, just mostly touting our research. Very content-oriented campaign. I always have a primary story as the lead message as opposed to leading with our brand. And they seem to do well. Anyway, next. Just back end, Social Studio. We had a lot going on last week. We had our Hall of Distinction. We also have been doing a lot of stories on Wednesday. We have a lot of activity there. So anyway, I haven't gone deep into Social Studio, which is kind of on my to-do list, which is of course as long as all of yours, but do want to use the engage and analyze tabs more as we develop what we do with social media. Next. And then the chat bot, which is very cool. So we always have that little tab, chat with an expert, which scrolls along with you. So that's like a section of our front page. If you click on it, and our ambassadors who are available at the chat bot. So at the chat option, if they are, they'll jump in. I usually log in maybe once a month or so just to see what's going on. It's kind of fun confusing whoever's answering the chat bot if there's someone there. If there's no one there, the chat bot kicks in and it kind of clicks you through this process of getting information. So I did a quick screenshot. If you go to our website, engr.uky.edu, you can play around with a chat bot. I don't believe there's anyone there answering questions today, so you should be able to click through. I haven't gone deep down and evaluated how well it's working, what the stats are. That's kind of the next step to improve our chat bots. Next. So anyway, Tyler asked me kind of give a broad overview and also just talk about a specific campaign. And I thought this campaign might be good to chat about since it used a lot of, digital marketing tools. We were, in fall 2020, we were one of the few universities that still had an on-campus visit option, both in the College of Engineering and the university. And of course, I think we all know this, if a student comes to campus, their chances of matriculating are greatly increased. We do a survey with our students when they first come, and 82% of them tell us that they did visit campus. Of course, this is 2020, so some of that visit was virtual, so it makes it a little harder to really define those numbers. But next, the audience worked with Kelly Bozeman on this to get access to the inquiry pool and the prospect pool. So there's about who indicated interest in engineering. Geographically, we focus on the nearby places where you couldn't visit. So please travel us and wear your mask and take a tour of the University of Kentucky. So there are about 9,000 contacts for this campaign. Next. Basic marketing materials, landing page, digital ads, email. Next. Landing page, we do have a special content type on our website for landing pages, which we're always playing with, trying to improve. So when you go, you'll notice the top level navigation disappears here. Since it's a landing page, we want to have one call to action. Schedule your visit here. Arguably, I probably shouldn't have the footer down there because those are other options to click away from the call to action. But anyway, probably too much copy, and threw a video tour in there that our primary recruiter put together for us. But it's nice to have. It helps me. Kind of what we were talking about before, what Zach was talking about, is being able to track. We're not click-through rates. How well did this actually do? So it ended up, this campaign was primarily a social media campaign. You'll see most of the page views came from that Facebook campaign probably 90% of them. So next, we also, of course, and this is where we worked with Kelly Bozeman's team. And I believe this campaign was run by Cornet. So I shared photography, trying to focus on faculty, interacting with students, of course, wearing masks and safely, with some simple copy and easy call to action, book now. Next. We spent, not a huge spend on this, $4,000. We got that many impressions, got some decent engagement, and it was nice to see. It's good when you see the data you're given by these companies actually match up. So it says there was 568 clicks, which very much matches up with the clicks we saw from Facebook onto the landing page. Click-through rate, not much. Cost per click was a little pricey. I wouldn't say this was a terribly successful campaign. We really got 9 folks that went and followed through, and we could tell went to the schedule your visit. But the thing we did notice is that it may have generated some activity outside of the landing page and campaign, just by generating interest and awareness. There were 27 of those. Next, and we did do, one thing we didn't do that I wish we had done is we did not do email campaign early on for this campaign. I think it was a misstep, but we did do a follow-up. Assuming, folks didn't follow up and do a tour, well, hey, come do a virtual tour with us, 15% open rate, and which will no longer be using that percentage in a meaningful way, and then click through. We did get 42 unique clicks, so decent activity from this campaign, from this email anyway. Next, our recruiter was only able to confirm 1 student who actually matriculated, which you could argue, of course, we were quite successful. We did get 1 student from this campaign. Might have been a little too short, and we relied too much on the social media campaign. We do survey our students who matriculate, and one of the questions, of course, is what influenced their decision. Next, as you can see, emails. They tell us, the students who come tell us our email campaigns are effective. I don't know if they're really, we always struggle with, are they responding to our emails? Are they responding to the institutional email campaigns? It's really hard to find with social media as well. When I do talk to students, they aren't really able to answer the question like, was it engineering content, sent out from the college? Was it content sent from the university? So it's always been a little challenge for us to know, what content is really having an influence on them. So anyway, that is my presentation.
Derek, thanks so much. And I think this is a good representation of some really good work, but also within the available tools that are offered here at the university at enterprise level, done in a way that I think is really at the spirit of what we're trying to accomplish here, which is to create a good digital experience for our prospects, for our current students. And so one of the kind of exercises that we want to get in the practice of is having folks like you share some of their work, but also for us to be a sounding board, a positive sounding board for ways that either you can improve and advance that work, and give an opportunity for the folks that do this every single day to have kind of deep expertise in these platforms can find some opportunity for you. So some of the things that I had written down and listened to was, advancing some of the proactive emails with your digital campaign and thinking about sharing that audience that was targeted for the ad set, and having kind of a concurrent email campaign or email journey, going alongside with that campaign as kind of an omni-channel. And then digging into, and certainly we can connect you with JD and our team and Danae to dig into some of the metrics and analytics and utterances that are either working well or not with your chatbot. And then some other things that I think might be advantageous is, we got the Drupal team on here thinking about ways that, you've built out those landing pages. Are there opportunities to then cross-post some of the chatbot work or some form assembly work on those landing pages? And then the last thing, and I'll shut up, I'll let the other team members talk, or provide any other kind of insights that they had observed, is this idea of conversion, right? Thinking about the conversion on your ad sets and having the ability to, we're working through that now with our application push strategy, kind of evaluating both the pixel conversion, driving the student through the application to the confirmation page, and then triangulating that with Google Analytics GTM data, and then comparing that to actual application data. So that would run parallel to the triangulation of the work that you're doing with UVisit, the click-through button, making sure that you're in a regular kind of pattern of looking at that information to check the efficacy of your ad campaign. So I'll stop there and let anyone from either the web team or Salesforce team also provide, but also give you an opportunity, Derek, to discuss some of those things.
One thing we are starting to use, Tyler, is a request as an RFI, request for information. So if you click on our top button on our website that says apply, we do have kind of an internal RFI form for graduate students, which has surprised me how much it's gotten used. And we're also directing them to the admissions RFI form as well. Not quite ready.
Derek, have we started looking at with you? This is not a loaded question. I genuinely don't know. Have we started looking at with you the idea of follow-up communications based on your email interactions? It was really surprising, and maybe you've told me this before, but it was really surprising how your students' feedback said that your emails were a driver of their decision and were at very minimum informative and helpful.
Yeah.
So to me, that rings alarm bells. Like, we should really be looking at taking the communications that you're building and doing some of those next level items. An example that sounds difficult that isn't would be, when you send a communication, someone clicks on a certain link, the next day we can already trigger an automated text message the next day or something like that that says, hey, you were looking for this information, here's some other resources, and get them kind of on that journey. Maybe we're already on that conversation.
I mean, I'm having that conversation with Tony because it is a concern, right? An RFI form fails if you don't follow up quickly. So Tony's aware that this is here and is responding to this and the email campaigns, but that is a conversation that should include our recruiters as well. Tony's busy. I was hoping he could join us today because he would pipe in with quite a bit to say about this issue.
Well, we're at your disposal as well. Like I said, we've done a little bit of interactions around that, and then once COVID hit, we learned a lot about how to trigger text messages and follow up based on a student's interaction with an email. So kudos to you for getting such positive outcomes from what is traditionally thought of as maybe a stale medium. That takes a lot of effort. So well done, Derek. And if we can help get that to the next level, I think there's some cool wins in there.
Well, we didn't matriculate enough students. So, I think we can do much better than we have. So it's nice to see the students who did matriculate did respond to those, but our numbers have dipped a bit. So we, the more we can knock around ideas and find solutions, the better. So thank you. It is interesting. The most popular page for a prospective student on our website is Apply Now. How to apply and apply now. So they will click that before visit. They will click that before they go to academics. degree options. But so we put a lot of work. So we kind of track what pages are prospective students going to most. And so those are the pages that we are earnestly wringing our hands over. And the other thing we launched, and I was working with Kelly on this as well, is, you know, I mentioned we're kind of struggling a little bit with messaging around co-ops because U of L requires co-ops, Cincinnati requires co-ops. We don't require co-ops because we want, you know, our kids can do research. There's other opportunities towards success if you know, we feel like our co-ops are higher quality because they're not required. And so we can focus on, you know, stuff that students really need. So anyway, when you go to those primary pages, visit us, degree programs, whatnot, it's now generating follow-up. There's a digital ad campaign. So we're retargeting people who visit our website. So we can spend a small amount of people on the folks who have already interested us to double down on that message that we do have co-ops. And so when I go to U of L, when I go to Cincinnati, they're doing the same thing. When I go there, they send me, I see their marketing ads. So a lot of work right now is kind of counter messaging. U of L is where we probably lose our most students to, unfortunately. The students who select UK as their #1 option, who don't matriculate, most likely end up at U of L. So that's an opportunity for us. And we kind of developed the co-op page to almost feel like a landing page when you come to co-ops. And we also added co-ops as a top level navigation item. And we've also made sure that co-oping is one of the first messages students see in the, you know, the email trail campaign that we worked with you all on. Because, you know, we all know those first 3 emails get viewed, get clicked. After that, things drop quickly. So, you know, the one concern I have is, what is the first message students are getting about this college when they show an interest in engineering? And feedback on the website, because I'm sure we haven't done full user testing. We've been so darn busy. I haven't gotten a group of kids together and asked them to do things on our website. I feel good about it, but I always test when we make changes on the website, and I have not had a chance to do that yet.
Yeah,
and the other thing, oh, go ahead, sorry.
I was just going to add, you know, in addition to, you know, the kind of emphasis on co-ops, you know, you might think about, if you don't have utterances about co-ops, and Mike might be able to test that, thinking about adding that so that you kind of cover all your content bases. And
oh my gosh, Tyler, I would love to share the spreadsheet of utterances we created for this. It was massive. It was massive. We had, and that was kind of fun.
That'd be great to share with the community. I know that, you know, chatbots are a kind of a, you get out of it what you put in type, type exercise. And I think for a lot of the folks on our call that, you know, chatbots are scalable from a Salesforce tech, but they require a deep level of commitment by our partners to be able to contribute towards those utterances and transcripts.
Yeah, and we did families of utterances. I asked all kinds of different kinds of people to think about how they would approach the subject matter or question. And so we defined all those. We found out, you know, several different ways of saying them. And then I ran them all through a misspelling generator. So not only do we have all those utterances, but each one probably has a couple hundred misspelling options.
I'm pretty sure Jordan, JD, that with the winter release, or maybe the release before that, Einstein did some improvements to the utterances that it can identify misspellings without you having to insert those in. I don't know, that's getting really deep, but I think that's a new feature within kind of Salesforce Einstein chatbots.
Yeah, I believe you're right, Tyler. And that's like a step 2 or step 3, right? Step 1 is getting people enabled on a chatbot who don't previously. So if anybody in this conversation is interested in a chatbot, Those are surprisingly easy. I don't want to say easy because that minimizes the work that goes into it. They're surprisingly accomplishable with our partnership. And what I would say, if you don't know, if you're on the fence of like, should we engage in a chatbot or not, ask the person who's taking the calls from the most students, from the most prospective students, and ask them what their top 10 questions are. And right there, you've literally got the skeleton of a chatbot. How can I free up that person's time who's taking those calls? Or if you have even more indicative of a problem would be if you have multiple people from different areas taking calls, that says the student doesn't know who to reach, and you need to start standardizing your information, right, that we're giving out. Otherwise, one department may be describing the application process differently, rightfully or wrongfully, than another department, and both may be missing the mark on what the student's wanting. So a chatbot can enable us to standardize the information that we are distributing and providing, and it can also help to redirect some of our staff time that could be better used from answering the same question multiple times a week or a day even, right? And allow us to speed that process.
And to add to that, it could contribute, Derek, as you all find time in seeing what the missed utterances were, or the frequent questions that are committed to the chatbot. It certainly could be a mechanism for you to drill in and determine if you need to find additional content to communicate out, because it seems to be the most predominantly asked item. Right. So you think you're communicating one thing, but you're getting a volume of questions that are maybe outside of what you thought you needed to communicate, or something within that sphere, like let's say co-op. Well, there's a specific question that keeps popping up with co-op that you could determine within some reporting functionality within chatbots. The second thing is that as we onboard more partners and departments in chatbot, you have the ability, if a question is asked in real time or a question is asked within the chatbot, that the right person could be directed, the right agent could be directed to that student's question, right? So Derek's students might receive a question about financial aid. Well, they aren't necessarily trained to answer that specific question. They see that a financial aid agent is online, they can transfer in real time to our agents who are online answering from the Office of Student Financial Aid and Scholarship. So good, really good dialogue. Is there anything else? Any questions for Derek? I know some of you all had said you were attending just to hear from Derek. So I want to open up the floor to folks and give Derek a chance, or give us a chance to kind of answer some of those questions. I see that Beth asked a question. She asked, how do you balance the desired expectation for personalization with the convenience of a chatbot?
Yeah, we've launched this, Beth. I need to work with Danae to kind of we have not drilled down into the data. The only feedback I've gotten is the most personal sort, because our chatbot is not always just Einstein. If there is an available agent, it will go to the agent, a person who will answer questions. So I haven't gotten a lot of feedback. I think we could almost revisit this, work with Danae and kind of do a test case on what happened with this version of the chatbot, and what did we miss and screw up to make sure that y'all don't make the same mistakes. Because I think there's a little bit of confusion I have when I use our chatbot. There's some problems with it I want to solve. The thing that I struggle a little bit with, Tyler, is all of those utterances. When you use the chatbot, the Einstein function, it suggests how you use it, right? Like when you click chat with an expert, of course, it'll ask your name, and it's great. We get to capture that. But the first question is confusing because it asked you one question: how can I help you? And you were supposed to click that. And I think that's unintuitive. But at any point, you could just type in your question, do you have co-ops? And that'll be the utterance that triggers hopefully something, right? So, but I don't know how obvious it is to chatbot users that you can just ignore, the click through that it's suggesting. Tyler, I almost wonder if making it more personal is not even having
Yeah.
the click through buttons. It's just allowing them to put in utterance.
Yeah, and thinking about putting some more kind of user experience assumptions in there about, if it's 5 seconds, right, and they haven't clicked that button, it says, hey, still there, you can ask me any question, right? Just thinking about, assuming that they're not going to click that button, or removing the button altogether and say, hey, ask me a question.
I've
and
always
I'll
had
do my
mixed
best to answer it.
feelings. I've had mixed feelings about the buttons because I do think it gets the best question. I think there is something a little impersonal about it. And the magic of the chatbot, I mean, just like putting something in there and it actually like having a meaningful answer,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's take that as a takeaway.
Oh.
As you,
So it wasn't
Sorry, go
ready
ahead.
for that question. Sorry, Ty. No, I'm focusing
Oh,
on what Mike's playing with it.
that's part of this process is just kind of learning from the work you all are doing so that we can advance others. Beth, did that answer your question? Perfect. Any other questions for Derek, or really the previous 3 presentations on Sumo, Call Center Lite, and Apple's mail privacy protection?
One thing I've like related to iOS that I haven't dealt with yet is our email campaigns and how they act in dark mode. I think our stuff is okay in dark mode, but I don't think it's great in dark mode. And I also don't know the stats. How often is our content looked at in dark mode?
Yeah, and Zach, you can speak up with some potential blogs or resources about designing for both situations, so that regardless of, I'm a dark mode user in both iOS and in Exchange. So I obviously get to see when our emails aren't designed for both. So maybe what we can do is share some of those resources. I would agree. Dark mode just kind of showed up one day, and we need to be we need to be intentional. Yeah. So intentional about how to design emails that don't, that use transparent PNGs, that aren't, using our kind of white backgrounds that are going to pop on, folks that are using dark mode.
The thing that dark mode did to me is I had a workaround with how our Salesforce emails are viewed in Outlook, because Outlook will add a black border around your email. And so my workaround was I would just force it to have a white border around it. And then because we had white background emails, that border problem would disappear. And so anyway, that broke my workaround when dark mode came up.
Yeah, so based on this link that Mike has pulled up here, if you scroll down just a little bit, Mike, when available, 91.8% of users will use dark mode.
Oh my gosh.
Pretty overwhelming percentage there.
So we should just be designing for dark mode primarily.
I think that is a safe way to go. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Because I need to revisit all of my campaigns. I'm sure I'm here with all my colleagues. Like it's hard to keep up with all the work we're doing and then redesign all of your emails for dark mode, but it's something we need to do.
I would definitely keep it in mind.
Yeah. Can you force a white background with dark mode? That was kind of the thing I was worrying about. If I chose an image that was white.
No, so you may be able to notice I've got actually an extension up here on my browser. By default, I also run everything in dark mode. But if for any site that doesn't have it natively included, that my little extension will automatically force a dark mode. So it will actually swap any of the backgrounds with its own hex code. So even if the native functionality fails, there are still ways to force it. And it's not uncommon if you're really averse to bright white screens in the middle of the night.
Fun.
Great. Any other questions for the kind of main session? And we'll spend the rest of our time just either in the main session or in the breakout rooms. If you all want to head over to the respective rooms, our teams will be around to answer any questions. I'll ask one more time if anybody had stepped away. Any questions for Danae, Mike, or myself, Zach, or Derek on the great work that they shared? All right. Well, Derek, I'm going to call you out and say thank you. Thanks for sharing the work that you all been doing. We've got obviously some good dialogue here, but also some good takeaways to kind of advance the work that you all are doing. So that concludes the main presentation and sharing. If you want to stick around, we'll have breakout rooms to answer any specific questions you might have for either the Salesforce team or the Drupal team. Thanks all.
Thanks, everybody. Before I hop into the Salesforce chat, we did just want to quickly mention the Digital Marketing Hub. We talked about it at Marcom back in August this year. So we have launched a kind of beta version of our Digital Marketing Hub, and that is on our uky.edu/Salesforce site. You will see a link on the left side menu for the Digital Marketing Hub. Right now, this is just a growing collection of shared knowledge articles, particularly pertaining to the Salesforce ecosystem, things like building in emails and some helpful hints there, but we are hoping that it grows a little bit further out, and we've got some big plans moving forward with not only the aesthetic and functionality, but the content there within. So you can kind of just see a quick preview here of what that looks like. These top 3 levels here break down into articles, but you can see that we have articles related to processes and procedures within Salesforce itself, particularly useful to most folks on this call with the Create Communications and Marketing tab. A lot of it is asynchronous content that mirrors kind of what we talk about in our onboarding trainings and our triage help. But we are still developing articles, and we're going to be out doing some outreach to collect other articles from other folks to help expand that out a little bit. So again, just some of those next steps, expect it to be bigger and better, but we do encourage, if you're interested or if you think that it may be useful, to go ahead and check that out. You'll need some profile access to be able to access some of the articles. Most of the ones for marketing and communications are public facing, so there's no need to log in. If you're already a CRM user, you can already get logged in and good to go with that. But otherwise, we have a request form on our uky.edu/Salesforce page. Underneath that request service forms links for you to request a Digital Marketing Hub account explicitly. Great, thank you so much.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate that.
Well, I am going to hop into the Salesforce breakout room. If you have Marketing Cloud, Social Studio, or call center like questions, I will be there.